Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got another deck profile for you guys today. This has actually been one that's fairly requested. It's an update on my Lost World Dinosaur deck. And honestly, I decided to go back and change the deck a little bit, kind of go a different route with it. I've actually seen some builds that don't even run the kaijus anymore because they're just not as effective due to all the back row heavy decks that we're dealing with. So I figured I should try to change up with that approach too and kind of like work around the ratios, what to main deck, what to side deck, and yeah, and so on. And funny enough, that Lost World by itself already has a powerful matchup against Sky Strikers because you give them that token, they can't use their back row at all. Mystic Mine, you can keep spamming the. You can actually abuse the effects of Lost World because it's not a hard once per turn; it's a soft once per turn. So if you happen to get multiple copies in hand, you can actually just abuse its effect a little bit and give them as many Jurek tokens as you can. That way, you can basically combo under the combo without the worries of Mystic Mine at all. So it's a good way to backfire against it. Anyway, I figured I'd go and show you what I got this time around. So my main deck this time it's at 41 cards rather than 42 like last time. So, and you'll see why. So starting out, I'm going to be playing 3 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. I decided to max out on him because he's going to be your main boss monster. He's strong against everything right now. Orcus, Danger Thunder, like any combo deck. Like if you can stop their link plates from going off, Tyranno will definitely help you out. Next, 3 Soul Eating Oviraptor, it's your main starter. It's Foolish Burial and Eurota, so definitely want to play that at 3. Triple Miscellaneousaurs. Since you can actually play this at the start of your turn. You don't have to worry about hand traps for the duration of the main phases because your dinosaurs are going to be unaffected by card effects. So Miscellaneousaurs at 3 is definitely helpful. So, and I'm really glad he's back at 3. We needed this. 2 Quatless. I know some people like to play this at 1. I still like to go back to 2 because Quatless is actually very effective right now because you can recycle all your resources and it's a spell and trap card negation. So that's why I think 2 is perfectly fine. 2 Pankratops. I'm not running this at 3 anymore because it's a little bricky. I'd rather have my Tyranno out more because again, he's your main boss monster. You can sit on him. It's easy enough. But Pankratops is really good because it's a good way to bait out floodgates or anything like that. That we can just just free spot removal. That's all he is. And he's a free body too. But I do have a way to get him out consistently without the worry of having a third or not. So, but moving on, playing 1 Stegosaur because this card is special summon. You can add Pankratops to your hand. So he's really needed. And from here on out, it's just one of us. I got 1 Giant Rex and all the babies, of course. 1 Petite, 1 Baby Ceres, and 1 Jurek Elo. The reason I'm only playing these at 1 now is because they're bricky. In fact, these have been your main bricks this whole time, so you don't really want to see them. You actually want to pop them from the effects of the Lost World. But if you do happen to have it in your hand, if you have a way to still combo off consistently, they'll be there. You can just pop them from hand and so on. And if you banish them, you can recycle them back later with Quatless. So that's why I'd rather play Quatless at 2 more than these 2 at 2 each. So I felt like this was the most consistent way of playing the baby dinosaurs now. And of course, Dragalo being a tuner, it's pretty necessary. For hand traps, playing Triple Ash, Triple Valor. I mean, these are like the best hand traps right now, so yeah. Alright, so moving on to spells now. Playing 3 Fossil Deck. I mean, like Oviraptor, it's another Rhoda, and who doesn't want to play Rhoda at 3? 3 Lost World. Whenever a dinosaur is summoned, you special summon a Jurek token from your to your opponent's side of the field, one of these things. And of course, whenever a normal monster is about to be destroyed, again, the tokens, you can destroy a dinosaur from your hand or deck instead. So basically, you want to save those tokens on your opponent's side of the field, that way you can keep comboing off. And as long as your opponent has those tokens, he can't target your monsters, except those tokens. Now keep in mind that affects you too, but most of the dinosaur cards don't necessarily target anyway, so there's no reason for that to happen. So, but again, this is a soft once per turn, so if you happen to get multiple Lost Worlds, you basically just broke Lost World by itself. Alright, 2 Terraformings, definitely want to search that out. 2 Pills, I forgot to mention with Quatless, if it's dumped to the Grapevine effect, you can add one of these to your hand. Triple Twin Twisters, come on, everyone already knew this was coming. You want to get as many dinosaurs to the Grieve as possible, so that way you can banish them for free and get your Tyranno out. And plus, it's a good way to pop back row, because again, we got a lot of back row to deal with this format. 2 Foolish Burial Goods. Definitely want to get this card to the grave as quickly as you can. World Dino Wrestling is another field spell. If you open up with it, as long as with the Lost World, it's not that bad. But if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can banish this from your grave, special summon a Dino Wrestler, and that's pretty much all you got to do with it. So it's a good way to get a free body on board. And then lastly, 1 Foolish Burial. And that's all there is to it. Alright, so extra deck. Gonna go with Reaper Docus. With this card, you generally target your Jurek Elo, so you can turn it into an Earth-type tuner. That way you can go to Nat Beast, and for your Earth-type, or Earth attribute non-tuner monster would be your Giant Rex, by the way. 1 Pentastag. The reason for this is just because Tyranno piercing damage, so you definitely need to get this out soon. Got the whole Nightmare package. So, figured why not. Topologic Trisbana to deal with more back row, because banishment really hurts this format, so Trisbana definitely helps. You summon Giant Rex into one of his arrows, you get to banish him, banish all spells and traps on the field, burn your opponent, and bring back Giant Rex if you haven't used its effect already. 1 Borreload Dragon, and of course, Avermax. Everyone knows how much I like this card, so yeah. For my only 2 synchros, I'm playing Chanbara, tax twice, so it's a good way to OTK. And 1 Nat Beast. For any spell heavy deck like Sky Strikers, definitely want to keep negating their spells. Alright, and then from here on out, it's just Xyz. I got Logia, Dolka, Dweller, Tornado Dragon, and lastly, Gustav Max. By now, everyone should already know what these do. Alright, now for the side deck, playing a fairly standard one. Playing Sphere Mode, you know, for any... If I go second and I'm up against a bunch of combo heavy decks, and they... Or this is actually pretty good for Pendulums too. Since they like to build those multiple negation boards, you can break a majority of their negations with just Sphere Mode by itself. Ghost Sister for Time Rule. Droll Lockbird, which is pretty good so far. It's actually becoming a pretty common side deck... side deck option now, so I definitely recommend it. Evenly matched for those Floodgate-oriented decks. You definitely want to stop them. Because one, like, Floodgates, like, there can only be one, really hurts my deck, and I can't really afford that. And lastly, Anti-Spell Fragrance, mainly for Pendulum, Mind decks, or even Sky Strikers. You know, you definitely don't want them set off too much, so yeah, these cards definitely help out. Alright, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys again next time.